Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new settlement build. So yeah, we're back in Fallout 4 for a bit. And yeah, off the back of the show and the update recently, I've jumped back into the game. Been really enjoying it. It's been great fun. And as has happened many times in the past, I started playing and got almost immediately sidetracked by building settlements. So yeah, that went well. On the bright side, I have something to show you guys, so that's fun. But yeah, going to be a bunch more Fallout 4 coming on down the road, but I'm in and amongst everything else that we're doing as well, so if you want to see more of that, you guys know what to do. This is also a modded game, as you can probably tell already, so let's have a look at the mods I've got running at the moment before we take a look at the actual build. So, top of the list, a Fallout 4 unofficial patch, kind of a must. If you can't find that through Bethesda, then try the Nexus if you're on PC, but yeah, you should be able to get it through there. So, first mod, USO. So this was designed for PS4, actually, because Sony are very restrictive on what they'll let you mod. So this is designed to work around that. It's actually available on all platforms, so PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. As are all of the mods that I'm using here, by the way. So there's one or two here that you can find something similar, rather than the exact same mod, but pretty much everything is on all platforms, so definitely worth keeping an eye out for. With USO, basically it takes objects from around the game world that are already existing in the files and so on and so forth, and makes them available to build with. And there's a lot. It also overhauls your building menu a bit, because when you put that much stuff into it, all hell breaks loose, so very handy. There is a Season Pass add-on here as well. There's also separate individual ones for different DLCs if you only have some of them. These days I suspect most people have the whole lot. But yeah, make sure you've got the appropriate DLC one or the full Season Pass if you've got them all, as that'll add a whole load of stuff from those as well. So down here we've got a PC exclusive mod, but it's just a part of USO and improves the performance of the menus and stuff like that. So nice to have if you're on PC. If you're on console, I don't think it's available, but you know, the rest of it is the bit that actually does the business part of adding stuff into your game, so that's cool. So jumping back a little bit here, we're going to have a look at some of the weather mods. I'm planning to play around with True Storms, but right now I've got only clear weather on, just because it gives nice sunny days so that I can record the tour without having to deal with wind and rain and things like that. And you can actually see what I've built. So that will be getting turned off again once this video is done, but it is handy for recording videos, so that's why we've got the sunny weather, or guaranteed sunny weather. So, back to some of the other stuff that we've got for building. We've got custom crafting stations, again on all platforms. Basically puts different tables and things in that you can use as crafting stations instead of the vanilla ones, which is nice. For some of them you might have to go into USO and put rugs down that act as crafting benches, so you basically go through the motions by using the rug in front of a table rather than the other way around, but it does open up a bunch of different options and means that you can, you know, have a different flavour. For right now, there's none of this actually in the build because my character hasn't got far enough along to have local leader perks yet, so we're going to have to do without, but at some point in the future that'll be handy. Military clutter does basically what it says on the tin. It puts military clutter into your build menu so you can place boxes of ammo and weapons and all sorts of stuff like that around your settlement. Creative clutter carries on with a similar kind of vein, but all manner of different bits and pieces, so you can put little clusters of items and objects around just to decorate the place up, make it look a bit more interesting, a little more lived in, and really adds a lot of life and depth and creativity to a build, so I like this one a lot. It's an addition to some of the stuff I've had in the past, and it's been good fun. And again, on all platforms. Makeshift furniture pack. Now this one's been around a long time. It, again, does pretty much what you'd imagine. Creates furniture out of sort of boxes and barrels and plywood and all manner of stuff like that, and decorates up shelves and things like that. So there's lots of really cool bits and pieces. There's a couple of mods we're going to have a look at in a second by the same author that kind of go together with that one. So Workshop Decorations Pack, there's one. Ah, there we go, that's the one that's got the decorated shelves in it. But yeah, these are sort of few mods here by the same person, Astlum, I believe it is, who has been making mods for a while for Fallout 4 now, and has a bunch of really cool ones that are cross-platform. Workshop Junk Wall Pack. Now this is an absolute favourite of mine, and I'm going to abuse the living daylights out of it because I love junk walls, and this particular mod adds a lot of really creative ones that use a lot of different bits and pieces to create new objects that you can use to build walls with, from sandbags all the way up to cars and stuff like that. And they're all built together into piles of stuff to make really interesting junk wall sections that you can then put together using various glitches and make really cool walls for. We'll be seeing quite a bit of that. Workshop player bed just puts a set of beds into the menu that you can place that NPCs will not use, so you don't have to kick them out in your bed when you want to have a nap, which is a little convenience thing, but definitely nice. As it says, doesn't count towards the number of beds in the settlement though, so bear that one in mind. Workshop interactive objects. That one is another fun one. Puts things like chairs and toilets and what have you down that NPCs will interact with. They might sit on a chair and read a newspaper, or they might lean against something, or sit down in front of a gravestone, stuff like that. There's loads of bits and pieces there that are fun and add a little bit of extra flavour to your settlement as well. No More Hammering is a Sanctuary exclusive. It repairs the bridge, which is a bit weird, but it does. And primarily, though, it's here because it stops the NPCs, particularly Sturges, from hammering on the walls and making an awful noise, so definitely a must if you spend any time in Sanctuary. Finch Farm Grey Garden Overpass Lifts does exactly what you'd imagine. It puts these lifts at the overpasses in those two settlements. Locksmith, this one's worth mentioning as we fly by because that's basically allows me to lock doors, so it's kind of handy. Keeps people out of places I don't want them, or is supposed to anyway. And down here at the bottom, we have Scrap. Now, this is a settlement scrapping mod, and this one is a PC exclusive, but there are mods on console that do the same thing. Scrap that settlement being the primary one, and it just allows you to scrap stuff that you wouldn't normally be able to. So, all manner of bits and pieces, really. If you're going to use those, though, make sure you, firstly, quick save like crazy, because if you make a mistake, you can screw things up really, really badly, so you want to be very, very careful with that. The other thing is, when you're building, you will probably want to turn this mod off, because it can interfere with things like sinking into the ground, especially with the concrete pillars and group select. So yeah, definitely want to be turning that off while you're doing your building, and then turn it back on when you're done. But if you want to be able to delete bits and pieces you otherwise couldn't, this is quite a handy mod, and as I say, there are equivalents on Xbox and PlayStation 2. So, that's all my key mods, so let's head on and actually look at the build, shall we? And here we go. Good to be back in Sanctuary. So, yeah, working on the workshop house here, and I've used this in builds long ago, but I decided to do something a bit new and really make it nice and compact and really focus in on this place. So it's just myself, the settlers with Preston, and one other settler because I needed an extra pair of hands. But other than that, that's everybody who is here and all packed into this tiny little compound around the house. Got myself a nice little turret stand I made out of basically a cabinet piece there and some cinder blocks around it. And we'll head on down the side here and have a look at some junk walls. I'm going to say before we get any further, if you have a look in the pinned comment or in the description, either or, there should be links to a playlist that has some guides on all the techniques I use, the building techniques in Fallout 4. They're old videos and it really does show, so brace yourself for that. But if you want to know how to do the things I've done here, those videos will tell you, and they're not very long either, so yeah, all of the important techniques in one small place, and it's linked down below, so you should find that very useful if you're not sure how I've done certain things. So, swinging back around the front, I piled up a whole load of extra junk out in front of the building here, just to kind of make it look like it's gathered up over time, and we've boarded up the windows using the concrete pillar and some group select glitching, and it's just kind of boarded that up with half walls and railings and things to kind of close things off. Not done the roof, though, because, to be honest, I feel like it's, yeah, you're not really getting back what you're putting in on that particular challenge. But, where most people would probably enter this building through the front of the carport here, I have decided to change that up and come around the side. So I've boarded up the front edge here so that, you know, basically we don't get any attackers running in. It makes the whole thing a bit more secure. And use the gap over here as sort of our front entrance. So the gap between these two buildings has now become one of the major areas of the settlement, and I've built up the entrance there with chain link fences and military awnings and all manner of bits and pieces, and added little bits of decoration and flavour around there. But before we go inside, let's run around the back and have a look at the rest of these junk walls from the outside, because there's some cool stuff on here and some fun sort of little different takes on it. So, hello Codsworth. So we have got a boxcar around here. My settlers are all sleeping in this, so that's what that's doing there. And I'm also using it as part of the wall because it's huge and this is a very small build, so it's kind of the way to squeeze in larger objects, use them as part of your wall. There are doors that you can put on these boxcars. I decided just to board up the back entrance there because I didn't want people moving in and out. Could have locked it with the mods I have on, but I thought boarding it up would be more fun. And the other end has to be boarded up anyway, as there's the only other option is to snap stuff on, which I haven't got space for. I decided not to use the version of this that has legs on it. I just used the flat-bottomed one because I get it closer to the ground more easily that way. And then we've just worked some cinder blocks underneath so that we've got a little bit of support for it there as well. It's an oldie but a goodie, that little trick. So this bus and all the associated bits and pieces stuck onto it here are a single object that is apparently and evidently quite difficult to place. But once you get it placed, it's not too bad to move around. Unfortunately, it's not really very easy to put anything inside it. Kinda can be done, but it's a whole finagling thing, so I thought it looked really, really cool and I wanted to use it, but once I discovered I couldn't put stuff inside, it's just become a big part of the junk wall. But it looks cool, so why not? So, one of the other things I've done here, as you see the hedge, is going a lot further along the back than it normally does, and that's because I grabbed a couple of bits and pieces of it using mods, because USO puts this stuff into your build menu, which means you can then move the existing pieces around as well. So I grabbed them from elsewhere in the settlement where they're not really needed, and sort of extended the hedge line across to where the bus is, so that we've got a bit more of an organic back defensive structure there. It works quite nicely. So we'll fly back around, and we'll make our way inside. Really happy with how that turret came out. Decided to put the apartment sign on top just to make the whole thing look a little bit more interesting as well. It's bits of fun. So there we go. I'm really happy with how this entrance has come out. Got loads of little bits and pieces. Some of the stuff like the enter sign is actually from Nuka World. We've got sandbags and stuff, just adding extra sort of three-dimensionality and little bits of extra interest. Because I'm not used to using a controller, I'm getting a little confused on the buttons here. I figured out eventually, without the help of the HUD obviously, which one actually unlocks the gate, because I've got a mod in that basically makes the gate inoperable, which is quite handy for stopping people going running through it and leaving it open all the time. So this particular guard post here is actually from the junk wall set that we mentioned earlier, and has a military awning dropped over the top, which comes from a different mod, although I can't remember exactly which one. One of the clutter ones I've got, I think. Yeah, it's quite nice. They had a little bit of extra detail, which is fun. So we've boarded up the side here. We're entering the carport from this side, which sort of makes it a bit more interesting, and it's a bit different. We don't normally do that, so I'm quite happy. Did create a few pathing issues, though. So I've had loads of little bits of work tables, and somebody looks like they're repairing the bike there. Dog meat's hanging out in a little doghouse. He's my currently active companion, but I just tucked him out the way for now. So random bits and pieces of junk and clutter and stuff to make it look like they've been here a while. They've got themselves established. Got a cinder block staircase there that I just sort of just used group selecting the concrete pillar to move that underneath the boxcar there, so it's providing a bit of support. I did have to use an invisible rug, which is very, very handy for the rug glitch, and you don't have to see the rugs you leave lying around. But they're also nav meshed, so I was able to use it to sort the fact that Sturgis didn't want to walk through the door, which was quite helpful. So very, very compact in here, just squeezed 6 beds in. That poster's not quite where it's supposed to be. I didn't realise that until too late, but oh well. And a little bit of storage for them as well, but this is basically where my settlers are sleeping. We haven't got a lot of space, but you know, it's just about enough. I managed to squeeze the beds in. It was a tight squeeze though. Yeah, does the job. So just hanging out by the table there. Put a few extra bits of detail on that. This table's actually one that's just knocking around Sanctuary anyway. I picked it up and dragged it over. So here we go, we're moving into the farm. That water purifier is actually a modded one, but you can just put the water purifiers in the river and then use the concrete pillar to group select them out of the water and place them somewhere else, and they'll still work, which is quite cool, if you don't happen to have modded versions of them. So, as I said, I can't really get any furniture inside that bus, which is slightly annoying, so not without a lot of faffing, so I decided to board it up instead. Didn't stop my guard from getting lost and getting confused and stuck in there, though, so you know how it goes. We know how Fallout 4 is by now. The bustedness at times is kind of endearing. Alright, little wash bucket by the pump there, which is there more for decoration than actual functionality. And we've got a little set of boxes and some plywood that I just stacked together with some stairs to make a little guard post. And the rug on the top's actually functioning as a guard post, so somebody can stand there and fire over the dip in the hedge there. So we've got turret on a pile of tyres, just to get it up and over the height of that junk fence so that it can fire down on people without them being able to reach it. Yeah, I am quite happy with that. Farm set up with, firstly, enough food for the settlers, which is always a win, and it's also producing the necessary components for vegetable starch for adhesive, because I'm sure many of us remember just how hard that is to come by. But loving being back at it. The memories and even the things that are slightly inconvenient are kind of hitting the nostalgia thing at the moment, so still really enjoying that. So I broke out the contraptions workshop, the DLC there, to create this scaffolding so I could get up to the roof. It's not quite perfect. There's a few little areas where I'm noticing maybe a tiny little bit rusty in my skills, but yeah, it has been a while. You get the idea anyway. There's a couple of bits of floating. I don't think I could do much about that box though, because the roof dips down there, but the collision box off the roof doesn't, so it is what it is. We've got a guard post on top here as well, so my guard can stand up here and cover the front entrance without being too close to the ground as well. But with the dead space, I thought this was a good place to put a couple of generators and somewhere just to hang out, so that's what I did. I forgot to put the toolbox back near the generators after I had to move it, which is unfortunate. I guess somebody's just been a bit untidy or something. There we go. Does the job. Really quite happy with the results up here, and it's got a pretty good vibe, I think. As I say, you can see a decent amount of the road out front as well if you want to cover the place from up here. I wanted to keep this small and focus on just sort of the minimum number of people because, well, it goes to hell with the frame rates when you go too big. But I did have to go about 50% over the build budget just to build this structure. So the good old days of glitching your way around that. But it is what it is, and it's not so far as it does too much to the frame rate, although it does get a bit iffy inside here and there. But on the whole, I am quite happy, and we've got plenty of details, so not bad for at least an early game player base and jumping off point. So, turn the carport into my crafting space, which kind of makes sense. It kind of starts out that way, and a couple of things I've moved, a couple of things I haven't. Got a whole load of shelves from our workshop decorations packs and stuff there. And the idea is just to make it look cluttered, lived in, and like loads of stuff's been found or dragged back, and stuff that's available as tools and resources and stuff like that, so that this is a functioning space. So those two pegboards with the tools on, by the way, I deleted the original two that are in there. I think I had to use the scrapping mod to do it, and then just used a modded version that was already decorated and put that back in. So those are not the originals, but it does mean we got a little bit of extra decor in there, and it looks quite cool, I think. A few extra bits of pieces on the ground. I'll head over towards a chemistry station. I would like to swap out that chemistry station for a different style of one, but for right now, without local leader, I can't. All their extra chems on the shelf and stuff though, so I got all the ingredients we need. Bits, pieces of decoration. I felt it would be weird to delete Xion's crib. It just seems a little bit out of character, so I dragged it over here and it's just kind of stuffed in there. And we'll head on inside. You can see on the left there, I boarded up that wall, and I did a whole lot of boarding on that, which we'll get to in just a sec. First we have a little lounge area. A few bits and pieces, place to relax if you want to. Quite happy with that. It's very rough and ready, but that's wasteland living, innit? You do a lot worse, I think. So I put the railroad flag up there over the boarded up window, but I originally thought this character was going to be railroad orientated. I think now he's probably going to be friendly with them, but he's probably going to be more Minuteman orientated, because the character I'm streaming is a different character, and they are definitely going to be railroad orientated, so we'll mix things up a bit. But got a planning table in the middle there for my future escapades, and got maps and bits and pieces like that. With a few bits of decoration on the shelves here, which were awkward, although less awkward than they are in 76, so hey, we'll call that a win, won't we? This little seating area here, settlers do like to occupy against my will, but what can you do? I also boarded up the kitchen here because without local leader, I'm limited in what I can do for crafting stations, particularly for food, so the kitchen's kind of not really finishable to a standard I'm happy with, so I've decided to use the rug glitch and some half walls and board the whole thing up, which came out okay and makes the place feel kind of finished, or a bit more finished. Somebody has left my door open, helpfully, which is slightly annoying, but just used a little rug glitch and I put that sliding door in there because it makes sense for the bathroom, otherwise they're kind of in the way. And also rug glitched a couple of, well, a shelf in there, so I thought that little bit of dead space needed something in it. It looks alright. Same principle with the ironing board and stuff down at the end. The ironing board and all the stuff around it is just a single object from one of the mods, so quite helpful like that. Let's head on into the bathroom. Placed a couple of bits and pieces, put some cleaning stuff down. The toilet is actually one that technically NPCs can sit on and read the newspaper, although I haven't actually seen anybody doing it yet. But it's kind of a fun little touch, that. Bathroom's a little bit Spartan, but seeing as most of it wouldn't technically work, doesn't seem like such a terrible thing, really. So, let's swing back out here and close that up. Take a little look at my bedroom. One of the first things I set up the bedroom, right after making sure I had access to all the workbenches. But I've added a few bits and pieces, put a rug in there, got a little writing desk and stuff. A little shrine to one's deceased spouse, Nora in this case. Just the candles and stuff in the corner there. Looks okay. Yeah, another modded object. The Creative Clutter mod I have, I think it is. I think it's that one. Adds a whole bunch of stuff that reminds me of Indiana Jones. Like the bullwhip and the fedora there, and there's a couple of other bits as well. Given that I'm very, very much looking forward to that game later this year, and generally like the series, I thought it'd be fun to include that. Looking forward to checking out that Indiana Jones game. And there we go. That bed is the one from the My Bed mod, so that settlers won't sleep in it either, which is nice. Yeah, all in all, not bad. Could probably add a bit more detail to the internal part of the house, but I kind of like that it's relatively simple in a way too. And all in all, I'm quite happy with the result on this one. Lots and lots of detail out here. Access to everything I need. I've got the cooking station out front there, as you can see through the door. Couple of little pathing issues here and there, but the invisible rugs that USO adds are basically for using as the rug glitch, so that you don't see rugs where you don't want them. They're also nav meshed, so they're quite helpful for encouraging settlers to get into places or get through doorways and things where they might not otherwise want to. And that door is actually a fine example of one of them. All in all, quite happy. Yeah, maybe a couple of little bits here and there that I need to get my eye back in on, but I'm quite pleased overall. So yeah, as I said, this is a different character to the one we're streaming with, but if you do want to jump into that, it's relatively early days as of time of recording, so picking that up after the update and really enjoying that. So watch this space for that one, likes and subs and notification bells and stuff, and you'll be able to catch up on all that. Down below, as always, social media links, merch store, and channel memberships. If you're interested in supporting the channel that way, hugely appreciated. Massively, massively helps out. Do check out the guide videos if you want to, but as I say, brace yourself, they are old. And yeah, I do hope you join us for a whole load more Fallout 4 going forward, and Fallout 76, and some other bits and pieces as well, because we've got lots and lots happening. But for now, I'll say thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.